What happens when someone sues a 5-year-old in court? So I'm sitting in this packed courtroom, watching my 5-year-old son Perry drool on himself while he sleeps in the defendant's chair, exactly like I told him to do. My next-door neighbor, Mr. Wickford, is suing us for what his lawyer keeps calling premeditated genocide and demanding the death penalty from my kindergartner. Yeah, you heard that right, for a 5-year-old. This insane situation started 3 weeks ago when I was teaching Perry to ride his tricycle without training wheels. Perry was determined to learn before his 6th birthday because his older cousin Blake could already ride a real bike, and Perry wasn't about to be shown up by anyone. We'd been at it for about an hour that day, Perry wobbling down the sidewalk with his tongue sticking out in concentration, his superhero helmet slightly crooked on his head. I'd finally let go, and he was doing it. Actually riding on his own for about 10 glorious seconds. He turned back to look at me with this huge grin, shouting, "Daddy, I'm doing it." That's when he veered off the sidewalk, overcorrected, and went careening straight through Wickford's front yard. The tricycle hit a decorative rock. Perry went flying through the air in what looked like slow motion, and landed face first in Wickford's lawn with a spectacular thud. Wickford came bursting out of his house like someone had just burned down his garage, screaming about his precious babies being murdered. I was trying to check if Perry was okay. He was crying more from shock than anything else. While Wickford was on his knees examining his plants, like a forensic investigator at a crime scene, he started taking photos from every angle, measuring the indent Perry's body had made, and putting little evidence markers he'd apparently had ready for just such an occasion. The guy actually got out a tape measure and started documenting the exact dimensions of where Perry landed. Within an hour, he'd called the police, who showed up and tried really hard not to laugh when Wickford demanded they arrest Perry for mass slaughter. When they politely declined, saying maybe this was more of a civil matter, Wickford escalated to calling his brother-in-law Bartholomew, who was a lawyer. Next thing I knew, my little boy had turned into the defendant. The lawsuit claimed Perry had committed an act of terrorism and demanded $50,000 in damages plus criminal prosecution via the death penalty. During the hearing, Bartholomew presented their evidence, 37 high-resolution photos of the crime scene from every conceivable angle. Wickford took the stand and started actually crying, real tears streaming down his face. He said Perry had taken innocent lives without provocation, that these were his babies he'd raised from seed. He talked about the emotional trauma of seeing them crushed, how he couldn't sleep at night, knowing their killer was riding his tricycle freely next door. His wife Beatrice was nodding along, fanning herself at the tissue like she might faint. Bartholomew kept showing photos of the impact site, calling it a massacre, using words like callous disregard for life and sociopathic tendencies. Courtroom's TV. She clicked through them slowly, zooming in on photo number 12, then 13, then 14. That avoided every single actual plant and landed exclusively on your lawn. Wickford's face went red, asking if we could get ice cream, and said, "Case dismissed." "Mr. Wickford, I suggest you invest in a keep off the grass sign."